What's cracking, everyone? I'm Alex.
I'm Beto, and welcome back to episode 6 of The Move. It is episode 6, right?
Yeah. All right. Hey, yo. Chill. All right. We need to have a talk, bro. All right. We need to have a talk. All right.
What do you want to talk about, bro?
What the next move is. And this is a very serious topic, man. But I don't think it's the right time and place. So, you know what? The move this week is navigating difficult conversations, all right? And we all have to do this at one point in our life, you know? It doesn't matter if it's an interview or, you know, talking to your boss, talking to your girl or your man. It could be anything. So, first we're gonna start off with you, Beto. Like, what has been a difficult conversation you've had to have had previously? That was a weird little.
There's a lot, bro. One time I had to talk to Alex about why he was acting so sexy, you know, and it was a very difficult conversation. And sometimes you just don't know how sexy he's gonna be, you know. But no, in reality, though, I mean, there's a lot we have to have, you know, at work, at school, in relationships, in friendships. You know, big ones like in the past would probably be like breakup conversations. Those are tough, you know, to have. You know a lot about that, Heartbreak Kid, huh?
Yeah. Oh, we talked about yeah, that's right.
We talked about it a little bit, right?
Yeah. So this episode we're going to talk about a lot of like just what do you really do when you're getting ready to have those conversations, and like how do you navigate them while you're in the middle of them? Because I mean, I guess talking to people is a skill that a lot of us don't have. I feel there's a lot of layers when having a conversation that I think go over people's heads, and we realize it too, but we just don't like think too critically about it. I think there's like one off the top of my head is, say you're venting to someone, like I say I vent to you about, you know, like an incident I had with a teacher or something or whatever, yeah, and you're like, oh man, I had the same experience with this, and like some people don't want to hear your experience, they want to hear like feedback, they want to talk about, you know.
Okay.
So like that's something that we don't really think about, but like comparing stories sometimes isn't the best in a conversation. But yeah, that I just wanted to throw that example out there. But what's a difficult conversation, Beto? What is it, man?
I already said it, bro. We'll go straight to it, bro. Breakup conversations are difficult, bro.
All right.
Oh shit, I think I fucked up my mic. Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
But what I meant to say is like it's sensitive topics, so it could be conflicting opinions, emotional triggers, or anything that could bring conflict. You know,
Venting, just anything. When you want to confront somebody about something, like you said, a difficult conversation.
And then like, do you ever like try to avoid difficult conversations, or do you feel like you kind of passed that?
Depends what you mean at that point. Like, I'm 50-50. I think we can. I lost the train of thought.
I thought you froze.
No, it's.
I think it's.
I think as you get older, you learn when and where. Like sometimes you'll just be like, I don't want to talk about, like, if you know that you're gonna disagree with somebody heavily about like a sensitive topic, then you're just gonna, you know, I'm not gonna talk about that when so and so's around or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Is that considered avoiding?
No, I feel like I feel like that's an appropriate time to avoid it, because you're like, okay, I don't want to cause conflict, or I want like fear of conflict is one of the reasons, you know, to avoid difficult conversations. Rejection, men, y'all know about that. Women too, actually, hurting others' feelings or damaging relationships. So yeah, what you're kind of saying is correct. You know, we don't. Sometimes we know that this is a sensitive topic for this person, so hey, you know what? We just won't talk about it around them. Because and that doesn't have to be like coming from a negative space. It could be also like, oh, we know they're set on this opinion, and having this conversation will not provide any like it's not going to go anywhere if we have this conversation. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I feel like personally I've done a great job at like noticing those moments where I'm like, you know what, I'm not even going to talk about it because we're going to end where we started at the end of that conversation. So,
and then I think we're at a point in time in the world where like you can think you're going to have this difficult conversation and accomplish something, but some people are just like, they're just what would you say, stuck in their ways.
Yeah,
like, they don't care. They don't what they know or what they think. That's what it is. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think that's part of like the whole preparation phase of like preparing for those conversations. So like, what do you hope to achieve when like you're gonna have this? You know, like, oh, like, am I trying to convince them of this, or am I trying to get something, or what? Like, what outcome would be ideal for not just you but also them? You know, because I feel in a conversation most of the time both parties are supposed to gain something from that conversation, whether it be information or a favor or what. But I think timing is a really big thing too when it comes to those things.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to I don't know, you don't want to be at somebody's wedding and think, oh, this is perfect for me to tell them that their significant other cheated on them 2 years ago, you know?
That's terrible time.
You know?
Just like, hey, bro, I know you just spent like 20 grand on this wedding, but
you should know this like right now, bro. You know, that's a drastic one, but like, I mean, you know, you don't, if it's something like personal to like Alex, and then we're like in a group setting, I shouldn't be like, yo, you know, what's up with, you know, I don't know, what's up with your hairline, bro, you know?
Hey man, hey.
That should be that should be a personal, private thing, you know? It should be like when he goes to the bathroom, I'll go and sneak in behind him, you know, and as I cradle his balls, I'll be like, hey, bro, what's up with your hairline?
Whoa. Hey, yo. Chill. All right. So. FBI, open up!
Oh, man.
Okay.
Okay.
You're wild for that one. But I mean, that also adds to, you know, time and place, man. Like, that's not what you just said in the bathroom. That's not the right place, you know. And
that is the right place. I was saying that is the right place to. It's private between you and me.
No, that's not the right privacy. That's not the right privacy we're talking about. All right. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to go to relieve myself, and I'm leaving. All right. I'm not going to have a conversation in the bathroom.
Okay. Because
you never know. Someone could be in the stall right there listening. But yeah. So I feel as I train to be. You good?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm listening to you.
My bad.
Damn.
I feel like I learned a lot of this, like working where I work right now, like because I'm sort of a counselor to students, and I realized that, you know, timing is like, I know I have my time, but also the kids have theirs, bro. Like, so if I need to talk to this one kid, I have to take in consideration, like, okay, like they're gonna be in art at this time, or they're gonna be at PE, like. Do they like those subjects? What do they need? Like, so you have to figure out like when they'll be happy to come and when they'll be like, oh, bro, you just took me out of class and I was doing a cool project. You know, what the heck? So that sets the mood for like the whole session that we have. And it's just like, you know, you gotta, that conversation won't be as, I guess, engaging from the student, because they'll be either mad or, you know, upset to talk to you. That's the same shit. Mm-hmm. My bad.
Yeah. And just like, so like, you know, just preparing what you want to say is very important, you know. Yeah. So you don't, so like for your example, you don't want to bring a kid in and then you don't even know what you're going to tell them, you know.
Yeah.
Tell them, you know. You're just like, you know, you can't say it off your head, you know. And that goes for anybody too. Like your significant other, you're going to tell them something, like it's, you can't just be like, hey, yo, what the fuck? You gotta like prepare what you want to say, organize it in a calm demeanor, and then, think about what's going to happen.
Yeah, demeanor that's appropriate for that like situation. Because I mean, we could talk to other people in different ways. Like these guys, like my friends, I could talk to them, and we're basically shitting on each other. All of our conversations, we're capping on each other. But that's the way we talk. You can't talk like that to, sometimes your girl. You can't talk to your girl and like.
Oh yeah, no.
So, just being able to know what to say, like, and what's appropriate for that specific conversation is pretty damn important, because then you'll be sleeping on the couch, and you don't want it.
You don't want that, man.
No, but yeah, also just knowing to your own, like, where you're willing to take the conversation, because there's points of like, we're gonna bring up, I'm gonna say politics right now, because that's the best example. Like, you say you're discussing politics, and then you reach a subject where it's not, it's gonna like set you off or whatever. You're more than welcome in a conversation to be like, you know what, hey, I don't want to talk about that, or I want to go into that, that subject or whatever. And I mean, if the person you're having a conversation with, is a respectable person, they'll be cool with it. That's okay. Hey, we don't have to talk about that. Because there's a lot of things that I think we talk about too, and we're just like, we're not even going to cover that because there's no point, or it sets us off or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just current. In terms of that, we know our audience too. We're not trying to scare everybody away,
Yeah. But yeah, bro. What about?
And then it's important to, like how you were saying, you have to know when you're going into these conversations. You have to know how to control your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You have to like be aware of how far the conversation might go, and like where it might lead you, as well as the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So just be mindful for yourself and the other person.
Yeah, for sure. And then, what about when like you're in the conversation? Like so say you set this all up. You got it all good. You're in it. You're in the thick of it. You're talking about some of your significant others doing that's kind of grinding your gears. Like, I think a really big thing is listening, and that's something that a lot of people have trouble with, because you want to get your point across so badly, you fail to like actually listen to your significant other or whoever you're arguing with. And I got this off of, I learned this in my school, but I kind of didn't want to go back through my notes. So this is coming from Center for Creative Leadership, and it's basically active listening. Have you heard that before? Active listening?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's 6 techniques. Pay attention, or oh wait, what is it? Yeah. Fuck. What was it? Shit. I just reloaded the app or the thingy. Let me see. Okay. Pay attention, withhold judgment, reflect, clarify, summarize, and share. So, actually listening to them, actually taking in what they're saying, and then not judging their statements yet, I guess, because you don't, that's the whole point of the conversation. You're trying to hear each other out, withhold your judgment, and then reflect on like your own personal values too. Like, hey, like, hey, they kind of spin, like they're kind of, maybe they're right, or maybe, whatever. If you have any questions about what they're saying, you could ask them, and that's how the conversation goes on. And hopefully they're doing the same thing with what you're saying, and it kind of helps the conversation flow a little better.
Yeah, you have to see where they're coming from, and then your responses have to come from what they're saying too, because sometimes you're so caught up in what you want to say that you're not even engaging in what they just told you.
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, but anyway, like this is like what I'm focused on. But it's like you need to focus on what you're gonna say, but the conversation changes as their responses come up. You can have things in your head about like what could happen if they say this or this, but sometimes they might say something, completely left, and then the conversation went that way. You can't just stay right when you're going left.
Yeah. And something that I learned while in my job is like validating their emotions. So like, say you're talking about, hey, like, I don't like that you call me out in the middle of the homies, whatever. It makes me feel shitty. Like hearing someone else say like, oh, like, or hearing the other person say like, oh, I understand that. I could see that, how that could make you feel shitty. My bad. And then you can like always validating their emotions. So saying like, oh, I can see how that makes you feel sad, or I can see how that, and then just saying it, even if maybe you don't understand, just saying it also helps the other person just like feel like, okay, they're hearing me, they're hearing my emotions. Like now, like I'm more comfortable continuing on with this conversation, and yeah, in a way, it kind of helps you avoid. I guess helps you avoid being defensive. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah. You also just have to, like you said, be empathetic of other people, and like even when you disagree with something they said, like you have to take it in stride, and then you have to come back and bring it back to the conversation. So if they're getting off topic, you're free to tell them like, hey, we got to get back on what this is, like,
yeah,
because some people will try to negate the conversation completely, but you just have to bring it back. And if you don't want to, like, some people are a lot more scared of like of these conversations, like you can make it more about you. Like you can use I statements more than you statements, because that'll have the other person being like, okay, well, they're coming from their point of view, and they're not completely just blaming me and accusing me of this. It's how they feel about certain things.
Yeah, and I think that's where I was
instead of coming in. No, go ahead.
I think that's what I was leading to, and I was like, oh, okay, then avoid being like, that's where you avoid kind of being defensive, because like you need to be open to that feedback. You need to be open to what other people see in you, and like, damn, low key, maybe I am being a little too, whatever, and maintaining that, like, that calmness and that respectfulness throughout the whole conversation. Because if like, and this is, I read this in a book, or listened to it. I do audiobooks, but it was like the tone of your voice like guides the whole conversation. So if I start like increasing my voice, like through, say even in the podcast, if I start increasing my voice like level, the energy will like follow. Like you'll probably start, kind of raising your voice. Next thing you know, we're yelling over each other, and next thing you know, that's associated with anger. Next thing you know, you're angry at each other for no reason. Next thing you know, the whole conversation kind of falls flat. So yeah, maintain respectful and avoid personal attacks. Don't be attacking others, man. Because I feel like that's something that happens a lot. Like if you're losing in a conversation, not losing, but if you're not,
well, like if the argument's not going your way,
people,
you're immediately gonna be like, oh, okay, well, at least I'm not fucking overweight, and that's not where, literally, that's not where that's supposed to go,
Exactly. Yeah, you're talking about what fries are better from what fast food restaurant. Next, you're fat.
Oh, damn, bro, my bad, dude. I'm like,
so. Yes, sir. But yeah, we probably should have said this in the beginning of the episode, but like some, like, I guess, not. I'm blanking out already. What are some strategies you'd use in a like workplace? I guess workplace disagreements. How would you address maybe a coworker who's probably like kind of giving you their workload, and you.
Well, I'm going straight to my supervisor. That's who I am. I mean, if you're gonna have a difficult conversation at work, it's gonna be a real professional. Like, hey, I don't think this is fair. What's happening? That I'm doing all this, and you're not doing, or you're not holding up your end of the bargain, I guess. But that's like, I don't know. That's a really specific situation.
Yeah.
Because I mean, in all reality, if somebody's giving you their entire like workload, damn near, like, you should go to your supervisor. That's not.
Yeah. No.
You can talk to them, I guess, but you just have to prepare yourself that they might not care, or and if they do, you just, it's time to have the conversation. You're just gonna have to tell them like, hey, you're not doing the work. I'm doing it for you. What's going on? And then try to see if you can get a reasoning out of them. You know, maybe they're going through a divorce or something. You know, and then But even then, I'll be like, hey, here's your work, bro. I'm not doing it. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's different than a relationship conflict or a family fight. You know, you don't, I think it's easier. I think it's easier in some family arguments, because I think you've known them for so long that you can kind of know that you're going to argue with them. And it depends what it is too. Right?
Yeah.
The more difficult it is, you don't want it to lead to like you having to like never see this person again, but sometimes it might come to that. I don't know. But having a difficult conversation, specifically if you're having it with an older generation, some conversations are difficult to have just because you don't really want to have them. They just don't see things the same way that a lot of us people do now, younger generations, So at that point, is that avoiding, or are we just,
I think that goes back to just, if the conversation is not going to end where, there's progress. I think at that point, the best thing to do is not have that conversation. It doesn't hurt to ask, like, hey, as long as you try, I think once, or you've tried once and it just didn't go anywhere, and like they're just straight, no, this is how it is. There's no, I feel that there would probably be not a very.
And then at some point you have to realize like these people are adults. Like some people will probably have families that are a lot more argumentative. And I do think at some point you have to remember that these people are adults. They're allowed to make like their own decisions, and if they make the decision not to respect your everything or whatever, your boundaries, you kind of, I don't know how to tell people that. Like, some people don't like that, but if your boundaries aren't being respected, like, you have to understand, like, they're not a young person that like is not knowing what they're doing. Like, they don't care. Like, they want it their way. And if not, sometimes you have to like tell them like, well, okay, I don't want to see you anymore,
or leave for that day or whatever,
or leave, or whatever.
If you don't want to respect, because you too are an adult, or if you're a child, then sorry, but if you're an adult too, you could be like, hey man, like, if you don't want to respect my boundaries in my house or in my whatever, or here, like, you either don't have to talk to me or you could leave. You're more than welcome to do that. They might not like it, but that's being at someone else's house. You got to also respect their house rules, their house boundaries, all that stuff. So yeah, I think that was a good one. Good job, Beto. I can't do the clapping hands thing because then it'll mess up my screen. But yeah, I think what my parents did really well was they started, I guess growing up, they started like waiting till after the event to like kind of talk about it to whoever like was acting up, or like, hey, or like, why were you acting a little weird this day or whatever. Like, they don't ask, and that's also timing, like sometimes that conversation shouldn't happen in the middle of a family get together. Like sometimes, like, hey, you know what? Maybe tomorrow when I go hit them up at their house, I'll ask them about what happened here. Mm-hmm. That's more than okay too. So I think, yeah, my parents, I feel they did a really good job at kind of not bringing those things up at the family functions, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I brought them up, but
I think as you get older, I think that's what they do too. I think they get better at it. Or they just get to a point where they're just like, whatever, like you're you, and they can't control it. So, I mean,
what about if, I'm trying to think, what if, this is hypothetical. This is not, I'm not saying your girl spends a lot. I'm saying, what if say your girl's spending a lot of money, or your significant other is spending a lot of money, and I don't know, maybe you guys have a joint account or whatever. You're spending a lot of money. How do you have that conversation?
That's crazy, first off.
What's up?
Joint accounts are crazy, first off.
They are. But say you do have one. Say you had to.
Yeah. In that scenario, you it's really, I don't know. I would say it's really easy for us. I think it's a hey, I noticed you're buying a lot of stuff recently. We shouldn't be doing that. We kind of don't have the budget for it. And then, you know, I feel at the end of the day, that's just hoping you're both good communicators, you know, which thankfully I think we are.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't had that, I guess, that experience. Because I think me and my girl are also pretty good at talking about stuff that is bothering us. And I think we also recognize, like, hey, shit, like, I don't want to have this conversation right now. So we kind of wait it up, like, kind of put it off until later, till we're both or till one of us is cooled down or whatever. Not saying I get super angry, but like sometimes, you know, you don't want to have that conversation yet. So you kind of put it aside for a little bit and then come back to it. Mm-hmm. But I think just when it comes to that financial thing, I feel after you have that conversation, you have to kind of set like a goal or a boundary, like, hey, you know, this is how much we're going to have to spend, or this is how much, you know, each of us have to, you know, recreationally spend, and this is how much we have to save or whatever, so that, you know, that conversation had an end result and you guys work toward it. Because I feel like if you just have that conversation, like, hey, we're just spending too much money, like, you know, what's going on? Oh, you know, I thought we had more than whatever. Okay, well, we need to calm it down. And that's the end of the conversation. There's nothing was set. There was no like boundary. So, I mean, it might work for a couple of weeks, but you're going to go back to we're creatures of habit. We're going to go back to our habit. Like, oh, you know what? I want to go spend, you know, because I'm feeling whatever. They're going to go spend next, you know. So
and you have to, both of you have to be able to put a foot down at some point. Mm-hmm. I think both of you have to be able to, you know, hopefully everybody, whoever's like listening, like hopefully you don't have somebody that's going to guilt trip you into like letting them go their way, you know. You do not want to be with somebody, first off, who, like, if you're going to be like, hey, you've been spending a lot recently, and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I deserve to do it, you know, like, or then you're just going to be like, oh shit, like, my bad, or like, or somebody that's going to be like, why are you trying to control my money? And it's like, oh damn, you know, well, okay. That's where you at that point, there's more you have to look at than just a difficult conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. And when it comes to like the relationships or even families, I'm always going to go back to this, but like if, you know, if the conversations aren't happening or like the communication isn't there, of course, you know, professional help is always where you could go to, like family therapists, all that stuff. Like, you know, if the like communication patterns are like destructive or whatever, like it just doesn't end well every time and you can't get a good conversation off, like maybe you do need a moderator. It doesn't have to be a therapist. You could also, I mean, but I think it'd be kind of odd to have a homie or something, but hey, it works for you, but sometimes you need to have that neutral moderator to, control the conversation, because both sides are incapable of doing it or kind of have trouble, setting the stage. So, so yeah, guys, that's all I have to say about that.
More of the stories, don't get a joint bank account.
Yeah, there's
That is.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not going to go back into it. 'Cause maybe you have your reasons for having a joint account. That's you. I don't know. Maybe there's more to it, but I personally have never, and probably would never. But we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, guys, thank you for listening. This has been a good episode. Follow us on X, Instagram, not Facebook.
Do we have Instagram or no?
I do, but I'm trying to link it to my thing. I don't know. I'm having trouble with the Instagram. I have the account made. X. I said X. TikTok. That's what I meant. And
2 hours later.
respond to what's on Spotify, man. Right? And
go have a difficult conversation right now. Go tell someone you hate them and tell them why.
That's don't do that. We're clocking out, fellas. See you on the next move.
Later.
Damn, that was exactly 30 minutes, at least on this thing. So we got it.
we got it.
We got it, boys.